Okay, so let's take a look at how you can set up the Neo4j database with DevNami's image in a Google Cloud platform. So first thing, make sure to get a Google Cloud platform account and also set up your project and billing. As you can see, I have set up mine and my dashboard looks like this now. Also, one more thing is make sure that you are aware of how to handle the Bitnami instances. So they do offer free instance of there some of the servers and databases in cloud, but you need to learn to configure them manually for your own IP. So you need to have a little bit of Linux knowledge for this. Now next thing is click on main navigation menu and click on compute engine. Click the NVM instances. Here we will be taken to this particular compute engine page. On the left hand side we have variety of options related to virtual machines. On the right hand side we see VM instance. So as you can see, I don't have any current instance, so I'll be checking either create instance or directly I will go to marketplace, but I will show you how to do it from create instance. So when we click on that, it should take us to this particular page, right? Notice that we need to find a marketplace image for Bitnami's Neo4j instance. Then the configuration that we have by default will change. So we go to marketplace. Here we have to set our price to free, and at the top we will be searching for Neo4j and then we hit enter. It has to be community edition, otherwise we would have options like enterprise and so on. So here is see Neo4j community edition or Neo4j by Bitnami. You can pick either one of that. I am picking Bitnami because that is pretty easy to do, but if you choose to go with Google's Neo4j community edition, that is also a good option. So I will pick this, right? So we are slightly moved from our objective. Here we are checking the pricing. So everything is free except you have to think of VM instance. So I will be reducing it to 1 vCPU and 4 GB memory. So let's see if that works. So launch it. Then the background you will find some of the settings change. Then click again to launch and configure. Right? So let's go there. It will take us to API checking option. Now you can take a look at deployment name. It is selected for you by Google. Then comes your zone. Here you can make a bit of modification so that you pick the zone close to you, right? Again, another thing is choosing between general purpose or memory optimized. So let's see if I choose like 4 GB of memory, that will reduce the price. Still the 2 CPU 4 GB memory remains the same. Now comes the boot disk, where you have standard persistent disk and 20 GB of boot disk option. Next is networking, where you can find network interface, right? And here you also have to allow traffic to your HTTP and HTTPS ports, right? And those ports are specifically mentioned for this image 7474 and second being your 7687, right? On the right you also have some options within the stack, one being git, then second being fluentd, then Neo4j OpenJDK and stack driver, right? So you can enable disable stack driver here or later if you require, right? So I give you an idea for Neo4j. Now let's go ahead and deploy this. If you want to verify, change something, like you want to make changes to this particular configuration like 2 CPU, 4 GB. If you want to increase it to 16 or 32 GB, right? High CPU is there, high memory is there, mix of both is also there, and there is shared option. So I will pick the shared E2 minimum, right? I decided to go with this because I wanted to reduce price, first thing. Second thing, this is demo, so I'm not going to deploy any enterprise level database in this particular deployment, right? So I'm choosing what is possible, so I'll be doing in that fashion. Now, considering I have picked 4 GB memory and 2 CPU, this should be more than enough for our Neo4j, right? Now let's go to the bottom, and here I'll be clicking on deploy. So as you can see, it will start the deployment. It has selected its own zone and data center location, so we will be just waiting for it to deploy one script after another. Now this is deployment manager. So if you want to access the VM where the instance will be listed, you will have to open new tab. Then we will click on top menu, which should open your compute engine, right? And then you can take a look at VM instances, right? So that should do the work. So once you have your instance, you will have status over there. Also on deployment page, it will show you your instance URL as well. You can expand on that if you want. So here I am going to expand. Now you can see the deployment is done but contains warnings, so we will hold on for that. Now let's go to our instance which is listed here, right? So I will going to be using the SSH part, and then I will be using Cypher shell just to show you how Neo4j work through server. So here we will be checking out our external IP. So I will copy this, right, and on another tab I will run, and let's see what it shows. Most likely we don't have web server or so there must not be anything. It should be empty. Now our goal is to SSH into the Debian or whatever the OS is available. I assume that's Debian, right, on which Neo4j is installed, right? Considering nothing is installed on server side, there isn't to show, right? Next is clicking on SSH part. You will click on that, open in browser window. Now it may take a bit of time, so I will just wait. Right, so it is showing the SSH keys. And once those keys are verified, we can establish connection and log into Cypher shell, right? So let it load in the browser. So here, let me first check Neo4j version. I want to check the version, and it's 4.4.18, right? Now there must be another option as well, Neo4j admin version, and there we have that version as well. Now let's say if I want to access the Cypher shell, so it should be asking me the password, which is temporary, I know, but I will just copy it just in case. Now let's go here within my Cypher shell here. Now here type in Cypher shell, let it load, and it may ask you to type in your username, and here I will right click and paste my password, hit enter. That should load as well. Now we are connected, so from this point onwards I can just run the command specific to Neo4j. Also notice that it has shown me that it will be available on 7687 port, right? So that's one more thing to explore, right? So we managed to set up Neo4j community edition, which is Google's own distribution and not DevNami. So at the start I was mentioning about DevNami, but you can do the same and pretty much come to the same result, right? Now to exit out of your Cypher shell, type in exit, right? And let's see if it gets me out of that, right? So here must use semicolon, so I will use that, exit, and we are out. Then again exit to come out of your shell from Linux, and then this browser window will be closed as well, right? There you go. Now let's say if I want to destroy this instance, what I will do is I will select this particular instance, then click delete, then again click delete, and that should delete the community editions instance of Neo4j. You can also go ahead and delete the deployments from deployment manager, so that will get rid of what's left of the remnants, right? So I hope you get the flow for Neo4j installation on Google Cloud.